would like to welcome our speaker, my dear mama, Deborah Sundermann. For 29 years, she has served this church in multiple capacities. She has been elected, appointed, drafted, cajoled, and welcomed as a volunteer who is alert to the needs of the church and committed to making it the best it can be. And she is here to talk about how all that effort is returned to her threefold. Please welcome Debby.
This is going to make me cross-eyed. Is that okay? All right. We're going to go fast because when I tried to time myself doing this, it was 45 minutes. And we're not going to do that. Okay. But I have a question for you to start. Why are you here? I don't ask that in a confrontational way. It's a fundamental question. Why are you here? Why you are here informs how you are here and what you do. It's a fundamental issue, so don't tell me it's on a buzz, on a binge, on a dare, as the song went. But it's a rhetorical question right now. We'll get back to it. I'm going to cover two stories and the lessons I think we learned from them. The big picture of how we fit into the church as individuals, and why each of you are important and influential and need to hear this call to action. So my two stories start with a confession. I'm opera curious. I love music, I love plays, I love musicals, and opera seems to me the next step. And so you can't get too many operas around Corpus, but you do have the Century 16 Theater that has the New York Metropolitan Opera that they show. And so on this particular occasion, they were showing The Damnation of Faust, which I had heard about but never seen. And so I talked my daughter, who is not necessarily opera curious, but is a theater enthusiast, and she agreed to come with me. We plunked down our $45 per ticket and went to see this show. And it's a glorious production. These things are wonderful to see. They show you a lot of backstory, the backstage stuff, explanations about why the production is coming together the way it is, and then you see it in all of its majesty. And we're watching it, and it is building up. You know that it's coming to the climax. Faust is about to be damned, and the picture glitches, the audio glitches, the picture freezes, and then melts away. And we are in a silent theater looking at a white screen. Now, maybe that's some kind of performance art, I don't know. But pretty soon, the lights went up, the people from the theater came in and said, we know, we're fixing it, hold it, bear with us, it's gonna be okay. And so we hung around, and after a while, the lights went down, we sat back down, and the picture starts going again. And when I say picture, I mean the picture, not the audio. It was just the video. And this is an opera. And it goes for a long time. Finally, the audio sinks in, and then it's over. Now, this is not rocket science, nor is it a blood sport, but I knew what needed to be done. You go to the management, you say, I didn't get my money's worth, I'd like to try this again sometime, and they give you a pass. No big deal. Now, Tess and I are not the first ones out of the theater because I'd get annoyed by people who are in a hurry behind me going downstairs, so I've just let them all go, and we come out, and I'm expecting to see this activity of the not rocket science, not blood sport thing, and there's nothing. It's like, I'm walking down, and it's just like, what's going on? And it's nothing. Nothing is happening. I look out in the distance toward the door, and there are like 3 couples who are in a huff just leaving. But like 30, 40 people are lurking in the lobby, doing nothing. And I'm like, oh, this is good. because I love social psychology. I loved it in college, and here is my very own experiment. I can sit here and watch and see what happens, because something's got to happen. Either they're going to have a groundswell up, or somebody's going to take the lead, or some employee is going to say what's going on. Something's going to happen, or else they're going to eventually leave. So what's going to happen? I told Tess, hold on, we got to watch this. Stand next to the wall, kind of leaning on it, and they're kind of over there, and I'm watching them. Doors over here. Nothing's happening. And nothing happened, and nothing happened, and nothing happened for a long time. And Tess, who loves a good experiment but is into hard science, not this social psychology stuff, was like, Mom, let's go. And so I was like, okay. So there are employees everywhere at the theater. There was one, 2 steps away from me. I walked up and I said, I'd like to speak to the manager. Instantly, like magic, all of those people were surrounding me. And we, in a scrum, walked over to the manager's office. And the manager comes out, and I say, well, I've just come out of the opera. And she says, because it's not rocket science or a blood sport, she says, just a moment, because she was expecting us. She turns around, gets a bunch of passes, and I look behind me, and all the lobby lurkers are in a line behind me, and she's handing out the passes. And we get our passes, we go home. That's the first story. The second story is familiar to you, so I'm not going to go into all of it. I'm just going to touch the high points. The Wizard of Oz. Not Wicked, but the Judy Garland version movie. So Dorothy gets blown in her house, lands on a witch, and the witch shrivels up, leaves the shoes. The good witch comes along and says, oh, you need to get home? Well, you're going to get your answers from the Wizard of Oz. You've got to go down the yellow brick road. Take the shoes with you. They'll be helpful. And so she goes down the yellow brick road, and she comes across the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the lion, and they all feel like they are missing something in their beings, that they need to be whole, and maybe the Wizard of Oz is the answer for them too. And so together they go on this epic quest, which is constantly bombarded with this wicked witch who is after the shoes. Shoes! Where were the feminists when this was written? It's all about the shoes. So they have this quest that they get to Oz, they get to Emerald City, an audience with the Wizard of Oz, and of course the hero of the film, Toto, reveals that this is not a wizard, this is just another human being. He has no answers for them. They have done all of this for nothing. But then in the clever twist of the story, we find out that they were really whole all along. Everything that they needed was within them. Okay, so those are our stories. The lessons that I've learned with respect to the opera. To the Door Dashers, if you leave your quest without trying, leading or following, you get nothing. To the lobby lurkers, I say, you can wait a long time for someone else to be your leader. And if you step up, you might be really surprised that all the other lobby lurkers are going to follow you, and it makes it very easy to lead. To those looking for answers from the great and powerful Oz, I say, not only is whatever you seek still within your power, it gets drawn out when you get together with other people on a quest jointly. It is something that we work on together. We make each other whole. So, why am I talking about all of these things? I want to talk about how we fit into the church. And for those who are kind of new, I need to say that the Unitarian Universalist Association is not the church. That is a big organization. It does not fund us. It does not run us. It does not truly govern us. It is there as a resource for us, the resources we generally pay for. But that's not the church. The church is not ministers. I've been here 29 years, And that's 4 settled ministers, 4 interim ministers, and 4 years lay-led. And every time we got a new minister, I thought, this is the great and powerful Oz. This is the one who is going to lead us to great membership, because we always had been at about 100, 110 members. And it never happened, because they are mortal. And the truth of the matter is, all of you sitting in these chairs today and tuning in, we are the church. We are the engine that makes it run. And that's a lot of work to do. So to explain this, I'm a visual learner, so I had to make a picture. And Nick's going to help me. We're going to build a church from the top down. I can tell you that probably the answer to the question of why are you here, there are 3 possibilities that are most likely. And those are what I call the 3 pillars of the church. The first is worship. Bing. Worship is what we are doing here today. I use the term loosely for those of you who are a little bit concerned. It takes a speaker, it takes a worship associate, it takes a band and a choir, it takes an AV person that can get it streamed. That's a lot of people doing a lot of work to make a service happen. And then there's the RE program for kids and adults. That's all under the heading, or the column, the pillar of worship. The second is social action. People come to church because they want to get with like-minded people and do things in the community that's going to make the community better. It's a wonderful thing. It's our second purpose. And that is protests, parades, demonstrations, our tacos, not bombs, feeding the unsheltered, and other initiatives past and present. We've had any number of very interesting things that we've done. The third pillar is fellowship. And there are a lot of different things that come under this, but it's all about getting to know each other, making friends, being with your tribe, knowing that you are safe and can express yourself genuinely. And that's going to include pastoral care, our membership functions, hospitality and greeters at the door, potlucks today, parties and dances, and here's a secret, Arthur wants to throw a dance. And Arthur is a professional DJ. So we've got our entertainment. You know how easy it is to throw a dance? A few people to commit to set up and clean up, a few people to commit to a little food and drink. We've got a dance. So I challenge you. Entertainment, movies, nights, game days or nights, whatever. And even something like the pictorial directory that I put together this time. We needed something so we could figure out who we are. You know, you've seen a name, you've seen a face, put a name with it. Those are all part of the fellowship things. Now you might be saying, wait a minute, okay, who's in charge? And I'm sorry to tell you that the short answer is really nobody and everybody. We are working in a sort of a microcosm gig economy. We used to have dozens of standing committees and chairpersons for each committee, and they would be committed to a full year of fundraising, a full year of fellowship, whatever. And it got to be where people were burning out and didn't want to take on the responsibility. But people tend to be very happy to volunteer on a one-off, a task here, an event there. And so that is how we have been getting along with these things. And doing it that way gives you lots of room to stretch, to do what you want to do, put your interests and abilities to work. And you can develop your own combo of U2C3 experiences, the things that interest you. You pick and choose among the pillars and pedestals, and we'll get to those. All I ask is that you pay attention and rise to the occasion whenever you can serve a need. So when you ask who's in charge for the pillars, that was in our proposed bylaws changes that are coming up for a vote in May. goes to the at-large board members. Not as like the head of a committee, but as a nerve center, the person who is saying, you know, we haven't seen a fellowship activity in a long time. We need to do that and get the ball rolling. So all the rest of us can say, okay, this is where we're in need. So we've got this nerve center concept going through the board with the at-large members in charge of those 3 columns. Now, the first thing that my husband said when I started talking about this was, you can't put more on the board members. And to that, I'm going to read you from the Almost Church Revitalized, a little bitty book that Reverend Hockman had us read. And when I read it the first time, I took to heart the things that it said about the funding of the church and how you deal with your treasury. But this time I was looking at leadership, and here's what he says. Leaders create a congregation in their own image, for better or worse. A strong board will challenge and empower a congregation to consider new ways to expand its ministries. A hesitant, cautious board will create a congregation that has a little fervor to chart a new course. He goes on to say, asking potential board members for a token effort is a surefire formula for ineffective leadership. He urges us to be bold in asking each other to step up. And I have another confession. I have been one of those people who has asked the least. At the risk of insulting your abilities, I would ask you, just do a little thing, hoping that then you would grow into a bigger leader. No more of that. I'm here to say, max it out, people. Okay, but our church is not done because we have 3 pillars, but we have 4 pedestals. And those, I have to start out by saying, nobody comes to church to do a pedestal thing. You don't come to church saying, I really want to be treasurer of a nonprofit. Because if they did, we'd put you through a couple of different background checks and maybe a psych eval. And we would never let you near the checkbook. But we need a treasurer. And we have lots of needs. So here's the administration is the first one, which is pretty much the president now. It can be shared with a called minister if we have one. But that is the supervising the staff, doing the legal stuff, all the official activities, probably liaisoning with the Committee on Operations, which was the former Committee on Ministries, and the Leadership Development Committee. The second pedestal is infrastructure, which we assign to the vice president. That's building and grounds. That's keeping the lawn mowed, changing the light bulbs and the ceiling tiles, making sure that the building is repaired if it breaks. It's the ACT team doing the interior design issues. It's safety, making sure we've got fire extinguishers and an active shooter plan. Those things are infrastructure under the purview of the vice president. Not control, not leadership, but nerve center. Then there's finance things that come under the treasurer. That's going to be your annual pledge drive and your endowment fund, the fundraising like the pumpkin patch and the rummage sales. The fourth pedestal is communications, which we put in with the secretary. That's policing our social media and getting the word out, newsletters and notices, and keeping records like our archives. So that is the 7 areas, the 7 functions of the church, all of which need to be powered by us, doing little things here and there to make it all happen. Now, that's not to mean, well, yeah, it's not to be meant as the same thing as the board, the bylaws, and the elections. That's a different picture. I've got a tree. There it is. I'm not going to go into detail on this, but what it shows is we have 16 elected positions under the bylaws. At the bottom, the soil, I'm calling that, the endowment fund committee. We have a nice little endowment fund. It's not huge. Someday we hope it will be. but it does fund some of the special projects and capital improvements like the chairs. But that's at the base. Then we have the tree, which is the board with the 7 branches, with the nerve center thing that I've talked about already. The sun is our transparency, our customer service, that's our committee on operations. And the little rain cloud to nurture us is the leadership development committee that's trying to help find your fit with you. So we are actively seeking candidates for vice president and 2 of the at-large positions for May. So I beg you to find your mission. And to do that, you need to be informed and connect. So that means the involvement guide, which is in the center of the pictorial directory. It comes and goes in how current it is, but that's one place to find what we're doing and who's in charge. And we also have the U2C3 Facebook private group. And all you have to do is ask to join, and we'll push a button and you'll be in. And that has a lot of the back and forth on what we're doing, more immediate announcements. I've put some member profiles on there so we can get to know each other. So try to join that. The weekly e-blast, everyone should be subscribed to. That's every Friday. You find out what's going to happen on Sunday and other things that are going on. There are pulpit and order of service announcements, and that happens every week. And I've been up here many times and asked for a volunteer. And I think everybody's sitting in their chair thinking, oh, that's somebody else's job. I'm telling you, it's not. And if you can do the job, please volunteer to do so. We have a new feature available to us in our church management software that's called Icon. And it is a list of your talents and skills that you might want to be able to lend to the church. And it's not up and running yet. It's something that I want to see us get up and running. But it could be, you know, if you're a musician, you can say that. If you are a plumber, you can say that. And if we have a need, we know who to contact, or at least a more targeted group to say, we need a volunteer, or we need someone to help us evaluate this and figure it out. So be on the lookout for that. So we've arrived at part 3, why each of you are important and influential and should serve. It hasn't come across yet. The first reason to serve is we need you. We are a small church, a small congregation. Our membership has not recovered from the COVID days. We used to hover in the 100 to 110. Right now we're around 75. And we have some families who are moving away. So we need everybody on board. You matter, and you can make a difference. We have a culture of openness to individual leadership efforts. So you can self-prioritize the mission of the church. If you don't think we're going in the right direction, come up with something that sets us right. And without a rigid hierarchy, there's room for your own creativity, your priorities, and your power. Many hands make light work. The second reason to serve, the community needs you. Now, more than ever. Do I have to say that again? And the third reason is you need us. Serving and being served are 2 sides of the same coin, and that coin is the totality of the mature spiritual experience. It feels good to be useful and to manifest your own vision. You know that there is something special here. That's why you're here, and you want to be a part of it. So why is the church here? The church is here for you. Abstractly, it's here to bring us together so that we are providing these services in the community. But it's also here so that we as individuals can help each other be whole, working together, doing more than we ever thought we could, to bring out the best in each other. So, in conclusion, and I've done this in a decent amount of time, I believe in the mission of this church, and the church gives me spiritual purpose in even the most mundane tasks, and I hope it can do that for you too. It is truly magical to find your fit, to set your energies free, to find what you are looking for while sustaining the fine mission of this church. So, back to the beginning. Why are you here? Wait, don't tell us. Show us.